Alright, there we go. Alright, looks like we're live. Sweet. Ah, yes. M1 chips. Honestly, the M1 chips on the fucking Macs are such a blessing. Let's see what they talk about here. Yep. Mega apps need to keep developing faster. Yeah, need to compile faster. Okay, so what exactly are they going to do? Well, doing this in advance of hardware to guesstimate software consumer grade chips. We estimate that upgrading an iOS engineer would save about 35 minutes each day. Multiply that by the average cost of employing an iOS engineer, we found the payback period of less than 2 months. Alright, that's interesting. Yeah, over time you will eventually like save money here. So yeah, if you can sacrifice, if you can get back 2 months of an engineer's pay, then that's actually pretty good. Okay, there's rough napkin math. Alright, so what exactly do they want to talk about here? It's like, yeah, you have a faster machine. Obviously, you're going to save developer time, but like, what is the bigger point here? Like, what's the aha? Fast forward a couple months. I guess these are just like metrics, really. For a couple months, we finally got our first shipment of the machines, set everything up, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so you basically, like, your runs are basically half the time. Twice as fast, yeah. Is this an incremental build or a clean build? Oh, benchmark build, timing. Oh, multiple clean builds. Ah, okay. But very rarely, you're not going to run clean builds of your entire code base a lot. So that's kind of interesting. Yo, what's up? Yeah, you modularize your code base. This is basically what every single, like what Gradle and Buck does, and Bazel. So this just really looks like an advertisement for the M1 Max. That's really what this looks like to me. Like, it's just saying, hey, we have faster machines. And how fast? Oh, 2x fast on clean builds. But funny enough, I actually do have an M1 Mac that my work gave me. And I've pretty much seen the same thing. And the funny thing is, with the M1 Max, they're actually about as fast as like the remote cloud machines. And this actually presents some weird problems. So let's say, for instance, you are you're responsible for managing the developer infrastructure, right? And you really want developers to use a cloud-based environment where you manage the actual, what's called the version of the IDE, the setup, and basically you put everything in a Docker image, right? And so you really want to manage that for all the developers across across like Uber or Facebook or Google, right? And so you want them to use this like cloud-based stuff. But the problem is that your Mac M1s could potentially be faster than the cloud-based environments that you're giving them. And so you really, because of how powerful the MacBooks are, you actually end up fighting your own interests. Because now that means that, oh, well, with a non-Dockerized container and an environment like the M1, like a Mac, why I can just do whatever I want, screw around, and then get myself into all sorts of trouble. Whereas if I am using like a remote managed environment, then almost 90% of my issues of like, you know, onboarding myself are already solved by someone else. And so basically, the fact that you have a more powerful machine allows you to shoot yourself in the foot a lot more. And for most people, they're willing to pay that price, especially if you get double the speed, right? And it's actually really, really frustrating. The reason why is because it's like, do I want to have faster builds, and just be like, like navigate the one or two small issues that occasionally pop up? Or do I want to go along with this guy who claims he can manage all the entire environment for me, but I'm going to be lagging a little bit. I'm going to be using Linux, and I'm not that good with Linux commands, etc., etc. And for most developers, they're not really that good with Linux commands, actually. So I would say that the M1 Max machine, everyone's just going to be building locally. So it really defeats the purpose of like having cloud-based environments when you have a machine that is literally this powerful. That it actually beats the performance of the remote environments. It's actually quite a big headache. The problem with the M1 Max is that Docker runs still not native and needs Rosetta. Yeah, you need like some kind of emulation on it. But the thing is that if you don't already have like those Docker managed environments on the M1s, then you probably have like some script to do it. It's not unlike using Jenkins where you have like some script to say, oh yeah, download this version of PHP, download this version of Go, and set all this shit up for me. But at the end of the day, it's that the fact that the user has the right to make those mutable ultimately is what also is a double-edged sword and actually causes him to shit himself or stab or shoot himself in the foot. That's basically what I'm saying, is that the more powerful the machine, the more degrees of freedom that they have. The more degrees of freedom that they have, the more likely they get into some weird issue that no one can solve. But most people are willing to pay that because like, oh, well, I'm willing to have like one of these two issues if over the long run, I have twice as much speed as like the actual laptop or these Dockerized containers. I'm sure Docker will provide support for M1 soon. Yeah. Everyone's gonna, because there's no developer in the fucking world in their right mind who would choose Mac over anything else. And if this is the way the Mac ecosystem is going, they have to support it. Like if you look at Android Studio or IntelliJ or any other IDE, like or IntelliJ based IDE, they already have a build out specifically for the M1 Max. And then you also have like the IntelliJ, you also have like builds specifically for the Intel based stuff. The developer world is specifically moving towards Apple. And it just kind of shows the amount of control Apple has over all this shit. It's actually really astounding. I mean, in fact, like I have an eGPU that I can only use for my Intel-based Mac. I can't use it with the M1. So my fucking eGPU is worthless. It's total crap. It's shit right now. Because I can't use it with the M1. So that presents its own problem. So like, congrats. Whoever bought eGPU, you just wasted your fucking money. That's all I can say, man. So I guess with that, let's bring on my client and see what's up with him. Yo, hello? Wait, hold up. Hello?
Hello?
Yep, there we go.
There we go.
Cool, man. How's it going?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, hopefully the little chat we had on Sunday helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. It really helped.
Alright, cool. So, let me bring up your sheet. So yeah, catch me up on everything you did over the weekend. I understand that you had a holiday, so you had a little bit more prep time than usual. Tell me how that went.
It went good. Like, I've been putting into practice what we catch up, right? Like, about being mindful about my steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, on the Sunday, right? We talked.
Yep.
And like about having this more high level approach, like this framework. I'm trying to be more like general on my approach, more, not so specific. Like with this generality comes the specificity. Yeah, I'd say that those are the things I've been working on. And yeah, and all of the other points we talk in the past coaching sessions, but like to guarantee that I'm at least generating the right output, right? Like the answer, and like yeah, all of those things, and to be more, and not to jump from like naive to like optimal solution. Like every time I'm trying to, okay, I acknowledge that this is my naive approach. What are the inefficiencies can work to derive a better solution like upon this. This is I'm being very concentrated on those points mainly. Yeah.
Good. Okay, that's what I want to hear. And so did you feel? Let me look at your practice diary first.
And the other thing, I'm taking more time between the exercise because I'm doing the thing you told me to do, like trying to re-engineer more the solution, like to really understand what is happening, So maybe I'm taking more time, like for each question because
I'd rather you do that, because I noticed, like, again, like I think I mentioned this in the past. I felt like you were like kind of rushing and just saying, yeah. That's I did that wrong. I'm just gonna move on.
Yeah, and just taking a note and no, now I'm just okay. I did maybe in the right way, but let me understand why they did that way.
Exactly. You want to understand why, what questions that they ask, and how you can emulate it. That's basically what we're aiming for here.
But I still like it's still from my perspective. You can tell me this better from outsider perspective. I feel like I'm being like I'm kind of getting better, but like I don't know. Like even more we practice, the harder it gets to get a little bit more better.
Yeah, of course, because there's less mistakes you're making, right? In the
Yeah.
beginning, you're making so many mistakes. It's easy, like, oh yeah, here's like, I have these 10 mistakes. Just fix any of these 3, right? And then after that, it's like, okay, well, you did all the obvious ones. Now we have to refine and pick all the non-obvious ones, and those get really hard because those become much more situational.
For sure. Yeah. True. Totally.
Yeah. But the way you solve that is just by having better questions. Like, it's not like solving these on a case-by-case basis, but having a systematic way of approaching them that, you might not be able to solve every single question out there, but you can at least solve like 90-95%, right? And maybe there's a 5% like slip the cracks. But then it's like, the answering those would be a little bit weird, right? But if you have like a very solid framework, you can knock out like 95% of questions in a very clean, methodic way. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Red tape, blue tape. Let's see. Test. Walk through better sleep.
Still got like too much time. Yeah. But I try to go methodic. Yeah.
Okay, let me look at the timestamps. Walk through naive approach, right? Complexity. It's good. Address the deficiencies. Good.
It's on the video actually.
Okay, that's a video. All right, then I'll skip it for now. Let's see. Merge. Which one did you feel like you struggled with, other than the red tape, blue tape?
I'd say that the maximum CPU load, right? Because I think I wrote in the end. I took too much time on like testing the naive approach. That I could save like at least 10 minutes, like analyzing my replay because I did this. And let me see if there's another. Yeah, the other one I talked with you, like the minimum window sort. Like I got totally stuck on that one because I don't know. I was like trying to ask the questions when I get stuck. Look the characteristics of the problem. Let me generate a few more examples. Look the substep, but I don't know. I just didn't have. I don't know what happened. Maybe.
Okay. Let me go through the first one, the maximum CPU load. Let me look at your timestamps. Very similar to sliding window problem, but in this case, you have to use a heap to store the interval. Did you do that? Did you come up with the right answer at the end?
I tested it, and I'd say that I like in my test was given the right answer, but I just re-engineering, and no, like there was a few errors. That one was like
okay.
Problem. Yeah, I struggle a lot with
So
that.
when you say there's few errors, that means that your code failed some test cases?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I feel like that's a thing that's been repeating. I'm trying to correct it, but like every time that we go, I'm trying to be more aware, like to really test the way it should be. So it's a thing I noticed repeating. Okay. And yeah.
Yeah, let's address that. Show me this problem actually first. Did you record it or did you write it down or what was up?
I recorded. Okay.
Like, but if you want to, I can. I only have the
I also have the note of it.
Okay, so let's look at CPU load and then let's look at red tape, blue tape after. So let me
All
open
right.
the drive. Um,
I don't know. Like the answer was totally clear in my mind, like to go almost like a sliding window, but and yeah, it was all making sense, you know. To be honest, I didn't run the code. I usually, after doing like all the questions, I always run the code, you know, to catch the bugs that might happen. But this one, I didn't run the code because like was this idea of using a heap was totally different from what I did, you know.
right. So in situations like that, it might not necessarily you might not necessarily be right or wrong to use a heap versus like what's it called a two pointer. But let's see what you did. But if it means that your code failed, anyway, that means that you didn't
Okay,
test
so
very
the problem
well.
is called
So let's see.
maximum CPU.
So let's take a look at this. So
Okay.
maximum CPU load. You're given a list of jobs. Each job has a start and end time and CPU load when it's running. Our goal is to find the maximum CPU load at any time if all jobs are running on the same machine. Okay, so the maximum CPU time. So you have 1, 4, and then 3. I guess 3 represents the amount of wait.
Yeah, the load. Yeah,
And the load,
the first
okay.
two represents the interval, and the last is the load. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, now I understand. Why would you? Okay, let me ask. You said you want to use two pointer, right?
Yeah,
Why did you want to use two pointer? Let me ask that.
like to try to identify the overlaps, you know, and my idea was kind of while I have a overlap, until I have an overlap, I need to like add this CPU load. That's what I was trying to do. First, yeah, that's the naive approach.
Okay. Load every
Yeah.
job. Load equals current job. Okay, so you sort the jobs by start time, and then for every single job, um, job ahead, you compare the current job, next job, and see if they overlap. If they do overlap, add the load from the current to next job, and then add plus. Ooh, you made a very big mistake here. Do you know what the mistake is?
Just a minute.
I like the moment I see this, I instantly know like you overlook something.
Maybe no. Let me just analyze clear. Oh, maybe. Yeah. I see this. Like, in case is no overlap. I'm considering. I'm
That's
considering the current load
not quite. Try again.
because I don't need to like add this current load for the next one. Maybe that's one of the mistakes.
Rephrase it.
Let me see.
I don't know if you're saying what I think you're saying, but try to say it more simply.
Like I'm even though the intervals like the jobs don't overlap, I'm considering the current job load like on the else case on line 51.
I mean, you could just do it in case it's just basically if else, but basically the error I was thinking about was actually if you have 1, 4, and then let's say you have a 2, 6, right? And then now you have let's say 5, 5, 9, right? So these two are going to overlap. These two are going to overlap. And your code right now will just add all three of these, even though like this and this are completely disjointed.
Yeah. I noticed this on like while you're trying to improve my, but not in the naive approach.
You
I
should
noticed the
recognize
same
this.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recognize I had like on the if you fast forward the video, you'll see.
Okay. So you recognize
considering
this, but you didn't recognize it soon enough.
Yeah, I should like consider even in my naive approach. Yeah.
Yeah, your naive approach was gonna blow you up because if you build off a faulty naive approach, you're gonna get your optimal approach is gonna get blown up. You gotta make sure that this is bulletproof. So basically, you just kind of like I feel like you went through this like, oh, it passed one example, and therefore I'm done.
No, I tested for a second. Look at this. If you advance, yeah,
Mm.
there's this corner case I was trying to analyze. You know,
I see.
you
I
see?
see. You overlook
Yeah,
this.
that was. Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah.
Okay. So then, where does the 2-pointer come in? Why did you? What were the characteristics of the problem that led you to 2-pointer? Let me ask that.
Mm, yeah. The while they still overlapping, like basically what was that? I will explain. Uh,
What?
yeah, like while the intervals still overlapping, I need to consider like they all together. But yeah, I addressed like the corner case, but the 2-pointer will not solve this.
The thing is that that just means that your instinct is wrong. So that's why I'm asking the characteristics of the problem that pointed out. So you're saying that you are trying to grow 2-pointers while the intervals are overlapping. Okay, I mean that's fairly reasonable actually. I understand like
Yeah.
why you're doing this.
Mhm.
But the problem is I feel like you kind of forced it. I would have gone with something much simpler. Um,
What will be your idea, just for
okay.
sake of?
The very simple one. Okay, so the characteristics of a 2-pointer is basically when you want at least from the way I see it, is that 2-pointer is just basically yeah I'm gonna do like 2 loops, right,
Uh-huh.
and try every single possible combination, but instead I can keep it in ordered, right. So
Uh-huh.
it's not necessarily that bad, but I would have started off on the point like okay I know I need a sort, right, and all
Yeah.
I need to do is just I don't need a window inside the array. I just need an amount. That's the output. I'm not looking for like this interval to this interval. I don't give a fuck. I only need an absolute amount. So for me, I would just say, okay, I just need to keep it sorted array, and then I can just iterate through this once. So I would have just like so this would have just been a heap n log n or sort n log n. I don't care. And
Uh-huh.
then I would withdraw intervals, and then as these intervals withdraw, I'll grow. I'll look for the overlapping that gives me the most. I would separate this out into like intervals of like where they have like interval A overlaps interval B and interval B, right? And then I would
Mhm.
bring this next interval and then and then see for any part that overlaps, I would add this load onto each one of those places. I mean, it's a little convoluted, but
Oh.
that's basically the general direction I would go.
Oh.
I would only need to basically look at as long as they overlap, then that overlap part just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah. I will try to redo based
Okay.
on your logic.
Yeah, is this something from EPI?
No, this is from Grokking. Like
Okay.
it's a problem challenge, I guess that let
Okay.
me just check here just to make sure. Yeah, is the problem challenge 2 for merge intervals.
Okay.
Yeah, actually one thing I just want to say here. I noticed that the red tape and blue tape was part of the merge interval. So I I just decided to do just a few exercises from merge intervals. Is that bad? Like just because it was not so clear in my mind, I just wanted to see like more exercises like this.
Sorry, repeat that.
Um, like I noticed that red tape and blue tape
Mm-hmm.
was kind of exercises
Mm-hmm.
exercises equal to the merge intervals
Yeah.
kind of exercise.
Yeah, they're
And I
similar.
decided to do few exercises of this
Okay.
category on Grokking,
Okay.
just for sake of yeah
That's fine.
solidify
That's
that's in
fine.
my mind.
I definitely. I mean, we haven't hit array. We haven't hit arrays or or linked lists or dynamic programming, and I would have liked to hit that pretty soon. Either way, like you just basically misapplied 2-pointers here. It's like, well, you don't need to know. The thing is that you don't need the 2 intervals specifically. You just need the maximum load. So remember what I said in the guide is that the algorithm is for an input, you get an output. 2-pointers, it's like what's the range? But I don't need the range. I just need an amount. So that's it. You basically misapplied. Well, you misapplied an algorithm because you didn't understand what the input was and what the output was.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also you should have caught onto the test as well. So instead of like trying to like harp on like, oh, you missed this pattern, I'd rather you focus on like, okay, make sure, do I have my ass covered? Remember what I said before? Like, what is gonna kill me here?
Yes.
Okay. So it's better, yeah. Everything after this is just kind of like a consequence of that.
And can I just say one more thing about this one?
Sure.
Yeah, I just acknowledged this case I created, like this edge case I created for the naive approach, and I just said to myself, well, if there's like more than one interval, I mean, like one job overlapping with other, maybe 2 pointers is going to be a good use here. But yeah, I should like think more.
Yeah. You basically just,
yeah,
it's the hammer problem where you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah, that's a classic one.
Yeah. I don't need to see the rest of this. I think that basically the bottom line just comes down to you testing. Yeah, that's basic. I think that's it. You could have realized that, and then you misapplied a pattern. So nothing else to really see here.
Okay.
But yeah, as long as you can explain, like, it seems like you're a little bit better with your explanation. So I'm not that concerned. So let's see your other replay here.
Yeah. Actually, there's one from Thursday last week, before our coaching session. I was just recorded, like was thrown into the basket.
Okay.
So it's one like before it on the past week.
Okay.
It's the only one actually.
Cool. Yeah. Let me take a look at this red tape, blue tape first, and then I'll open that one.
Okay.
So let me look at your notes. So walk through with a naive approach, address the inefficiency of naive, walk through a better solution, write out the big objective, address inefficiencies. Walk through naive approach and write out complexities, address the inefficiencies, yes. Yeah, I want you to start asking yourself what will blow you up. But let's take a look at the details. Let's see what happened here.
Okay.
A little fuzzy here, whatever. Low quality recording.
Yeah, it's because I just started to record in a Mac, and that was actually the first one, and I didn't know the quality. Sorry about that.
Don't worry.
But the next one is better.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you come with the input. It's fine. And n plus n intervals, sure. 1635. Okay. Okay, I see. So you did the XOR thing I mentioned.
Yeah, the same thing, just to count as a solution, you know.
Okay, yeah, so you're...
So
go ahead.
Just so I can know, like, how much time I will take to explain this in a more clear manner, you know.
Okay, that's fine. Find general array. Yeah, so I mean, like I feel like by this point you already knew. I want to say that by the 15-minute mark, you kind of already knew what the idea was. So you don't necessarily need to write it out if you had a clear idea.
Oh, okay.
That could save you some time. I'm only making you do this, but like in a real interview, I would not make you. I wouldn't expect you to do this as long as you can explain it. So this is just mostly just a practice. So I think you could skip this when it comes to the real deal. But for now, it's like find the maximum interval, instantiate an array filled with one. Instantiate an array filled with one, where there are positions of red tape. I don't know what that means. Oh, filled with ones.
Yeah, ones. Yeah, in plural.
Okay. Yeah. That. Okay. Traverse through all the intervals of blue tape. Turn the respective ones on red tape to 0 for that are within the blue tape. That's I think. Yeah. Okay. I'll be a little bit more detailed here. Iterate through turn the respective ones on red tape in 0 if it is inside the blue tape. You want to qualify this. Be a little bit more detailed. It's like turn the respective ones on red tape in 0. Under what conditions? You see like how you're missing a detail here?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
vague.
Yeah, it's vague. So you should be like really harping on that. Like okay, it's fine. Blue. Okay, so fine. You're testing it out. Fine.
Yeah, then I let me just remember. I don't remember what I did in this part.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I guess like I'm trying to improve.
If there is some interval not covered by blue tape in the red tape. Yeah, it introduces traversals. Okay, so let's see what you did here. Okay, so you started from
Actually,
about 20.
yeah.
Let's say you started about from 15 and you're toying around with it here. Let me see what your final pseudocode is. Okay,
That is just to mention one thing. That is a recording I like. I didn't like saw the answer. Like I was trying to figure out by my head, you know. Like, so it's very good to see me like doing this.
Yeah, I see. So general idea. So this is just you trying to figure out the answer.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm trying to define the rule set. You know.
Okay.
That eventually would be my pseudocode.
If there is some interval not covered by the blue tape and the red tape. That's not a general idea. This is a case. I don't think you would. You remember what I said about the objective? What's the objective here? Now that you've figured out a naive solution, what's the objective?
The general idea. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. I defined the objective, and I was trying to define a rule set for this.
This is not an objective. You're saying if there is some interval not covered by the blue tape in the red tape. That's a case. Do you know what the difference is?
Maybe I should try to find an interval that is not covered by the blue tape and the red tape.
No.
Maybe
Do you remember the thing I highlighted last week? How does this help you solve the problem? Is this a solution? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
So you fucked up here. You basically you completely ignored what I said. You did the exact same thing where you latched onto some case and said, "Oh, that's the objective." Like, no, how do you solve the problem? How does it help you solve the problem? So you fucked up again. Remember, you have a naive solution.
Yeah.
Massage it to something optimal, and then fill in the details. This is a detail. This does not solve the problem in and of itself. Yeah, I'm pretty fucking sure I wrote that on your fucking plate paper, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to find here.
I'm pretty sure what the crazy cases. Yeah, so after I've built the cases, what are the crazy cases? Yeah. Yeah, you missed this one too. This is the corner case. It was same thing. Gotta highlight this one in red so you don't miss it. English drive, okay. I wonder if I put it in your problem doc. Yep. How does this solve the problem? I literally highlighted it. So I'm gonna copy paste it again.
Which page are you
Look
in?
at problem sheet M.
Okay.
How does it solve the problem? So your objective should be how to solve the problem. And then everything after that should be filling in the details. You missed that. That's basically what happened. It's the exact same problem that I last week.
Yeah, I consider it.
Okay. Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah.
That's why you flounder here. Like you spend way too much time because you don't know how to solve the problem. So that's.
I knew the objective, but I fucked it up like writing it, right?
Okay, let's see what you say. Let me see what you say when you wrote it. Hold up. I don't believe it, but let's see.
So. I mean, I was trying to find a overlap. Remember, like, I remember what you said. Like,
If
you really need to traverse through all of the blue tapes if you find already like an interval that.
That's
gonna
the
work.
implementation. That's an implementation. Does traversing through all the intervals by itself help you solve the problem? Is that a solution?
Yeah.
See, if I traverse through all the intervals, like that's not solving the problem. That's a step to solve the problem. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So traversing is just a way. It's just a implementation. That's what I mean. So the general idea would have been, okay, well, I have all this extra traversals. I have a lot of this extra space, right? And then And then here would just be like, okay, well, how do I solve this problem without using extra space, without using a bunch of extra traversals? That's what you should be thinking about. So the way to optimize it would be like, okay, well, instead of using a bunch of extra space and marking the space taken up, I can instead traverse through the arrays. That's one way of doing it. But I need to put that together into a whole picture. Even if I traverse it, well, then what? What do I do with it? What do I do with the traversal?
I should have like the answer for this question, right? In this general idea.
Yes.
So I can work on it, right?
Exactly. That's the objective.
Okay.
The objective is to solve the fucking problem in a faster way.
Yeah.
And so this traversal shit is just going to be how I, implement that. So you even saw me do that here. Like, I know that instead of having to traverse through every single element inside the, like the range of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I can just traverse the intervals themselves. But then how does that fit into the bigger picture? So in which case, you get the point. I said it's basically you just need to describe what the more optimal solution is, and then fill in the details of the more optimal solution.
Not just one case as like I did. Okay. I'm just taking a note here.
Yep, I'm writing on your sheet, man. So I don't really want to keep repeating myself, but I feel like you had this problem like for 2 weeks now.
I'd say 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So I better not fucking see this again.
Okay.
So really, like every single, what I want you to do is like for each of these problems, take it much more seriously. Like every single moment every single one of these steps I highlight, I want you to answer whether or not in your little sheet, like, did I fuck up here? That's it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Say. Sure. Yeah. Like if you can say like in your sheet, oh yeah, I missed this one fucking highlight, and if I didn't make that mistake, then I would have solved the problem. That's fine. I can live with that. It just means, hey, now you just have to practice it. But I don't want to see like you say, oh, I don't know why I didn't solve the problem or how I messed up. If like the answer is literally I've discussed in the past or I've highlighted it.
Yeah. No.
So I don't. It's fucking boring to me. It's just like
that's correct.
It's a waste of time.
You're being repetitive,
Exactly.
Yeah, and it doesn't. You're correct.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to be repetitive. Like we talked about this, and I've showed you how to do it, and like all you need to do is just do it.
For sure. Okay. I acknowledge that was a point. I missed it to focus. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
I was trying to go, but I didn't like acknowledge, like your highlight actually all the time. So I missed the. Sorry about that, man.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's 90%. 90% of the time right now where you're at, it's gonna be you missed one or two big ideas, and then that just fucked up your execution.
Yeah.
So if you feel yourself like rambling, lost, or wandering, chances are you've forgotten something we talked about. So that's it.
Okay.
Let me look at your last problem.
Yeah, the last problem is
it more or less the same thing?
It's before our coaching session. I think it's better. The only thing I have to say is that I didn't test because I was like was too confident that it will work. But that was like the main point. That never should happen again. I just acknowledge this.
Okay, so the other thing that you missed out was testing?
Yeah, that was the fruits into basket.
Okay.
If I tested at least the idea, as you mentioned, like in the framework, I don't know, I just put it there just to show you that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're visiting a farm to collect fruits. You'll be given 2 baskets. Goal. Okay, if you already know
I
the
think
problem, do I need to look at this?
yeah, no, I don't think you need. It's gonna be. I acknowledge like
Okay.
the things, and it's pretty clear. I think because I was uh how to say, as you mentioned for the tree problem,
Uh-huh.
I was rushing. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's like you have basically all right, but a detail you miss on the not doing the test is the enough. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so you already know what to do. Look at the highlights and seriously spend more time on the replay analysis. You'll get much more benefit out of it. Like make sure you tie back to all the shit that we've highlighted, and then after you say like, you can say, "Oh yeah, I did everything Edward told me to," and I'm still fucking up. Then that's when I come in. But to me, it seems very obvious. Like 9 times out of 10, seems like every single time I look at something, it's always something that we've talked about in the past. So that's it. Let's see. Is there anything else you want me to look at? Let me look at these. Have you been doing EPI?
As I mentioned, I did half of the array chapters,
Okay.
right? I stopped on. Let me just see. I think was permutate the elements of an array
Okay.
was the last one of API, and then I will just keep going with API. There's like 7 more exercises I need to do for the array chapter.
Okay. Let's see.
After I redo those that I marked because I think it's important.
Okay, 6.9. All right, cool. I see. I see. That means that you have 611. Hold up. Let me.
I'd say it's like
You have
more
five,
than
you have
that.
you have enough problems. Yeah. But
7 or 8 from the array. Yeah,
cool, cool.
the
All
array
right.
chapter,
And I think
and
maybe.
few
Go ahead.
few other ones that I will redo.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely redo the ones that you couldn't solve.
Huh.
And then let's look at your study schedule. You have your Facebook online assessment on 3/4. Fuck.
Until March 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, midnight PST.
All right. I want you to actually shift gears a little bit. I hate doing this, but we gotta work with what we're doing. I want you to start doing some linked lists. And are you comfortable with
Okay.
stacks?
Um. No, I think I can do like few of them just to see if I'm comfortable. I cannot answer this clearly.
Okay. So we basically have 2 more days essentially. So I want you to do so midnight on the 4th, right?
Yeah.
So for this, that means that I want you to do one, do some linked list problems in grokking, 2 stacks and queues, just some, like until you feel comfortable.
Gotcha.
And then after that, you feel comfortable. Oh yeah, I can manipulate this. I understand what's going on underneath the hood. I can do the stack trace. For that. After that, then I want you to do like some linked list problems, like even odd merge, especially.
Even
Merge,
what?
remove.
Sorry.
You'll see these problems in EPI.
Yeah.
Ordered list, reverse a single sublist, and then test whether a singly list is palindromic, and then for stacks and queue.
My past training, like I'd say that linked list, I tend to go very fast. I tend to get the idea very fast. Like those exercises.
Okay, but is it correct?
Yeah, for most of the case. But I just need to make sure, like now, because I have a totally new framework working with you. Yeah.
Yep. It's hard,
Just
right? But it'll get
yeah,
better.
yeah.
Order of increasing depth. So then that should take you till at the end of 3.2, and then 3.3. I want you to do some leak code for Facebook, and then 3.4 do the. Oh wait, this is what I want you to do. And then I think we should have all our angles covered. You work with heaps. You've done searching. Hash tables. I think you've done sorting as well, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you at least have some coverage on that.
Yeah. And one question.
Yes.
Like it says on the email that is like 4 questions.
Uh-huh.
In 70 minutes, but the questions may vary the difficulty.
Yep.
Do you have like any recommendation? I don't know, like to really try to be as fast as you can. I don't know, like do you have anything to say?
No, just basically your framework should be good enough to handle easy to hard problems. Basically, just do your approach for it and try to solve it as best you can. Don't get too hung up on a problem. I think you should be able to understand, like, when you start doing the leak code stuff, you understand what you need, what you don't need, for solving these problems. For like the framework that we talked about, like writing out pseudocode and shit. Generally, you don't need to do that, especially if you have a clear idea in your head. So basically,
And yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, just one thing. The recruiter put on the email as well that this test is not like the decisive to go to the other part. Like even like I don't know, I don't pass to one of the questions. I will go to the next interview. It's part of like they will analyze the whole thing, you know.
Sure. But we'd rather just like ace it
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then go straight to the on-site.
For sure, yeah, for sure. I just want to take a mention here.
Okay. Yeah, I really hate that the fact that we're kind of accelerating our timeline like this. Because we started like what, 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
We start on February 6th.
Yeah. So we're like not even a month in. I would have liked 2, 3 more. I would have liked at least 3 more weeks. But we work with what we got. And then we can punt the on-site. But yeah, there's a lot of work, man. So you know what your homework is for the next few days. And hopefully you understand like everything we've talked about here. All right. Is there...
Okay, man. No, yeah, just one last thing. Being repetitive here.
Yeah.
Man, like after all of our encounters and like coaching sessions, anything, I make notes of like what habit I need to focus. And like this was one I didn't took a note. Sorry about that. Really sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. But now that you have the notes, make sure you look at them when you practice.
For sure.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Sounds good.
That's pretty
If you need another replay analysis or you feel like you're still fucking up, just send it to me and we could just do another at will call if you need.
Okay. And yeah, just to make sure, one last thing. So finishing up those exercises of, I just put like 2 more exercises, row 1 to 6 and 1 to 7. Do you recommend me to go to the things you
Let me see.
like? Yeah, I just had like 1 more exercise actually. Like that is this employer free time, you know? No, actually, yeah.
At the bottom?
Yeah, row 1 to 7.
Okay.
Or go straight to what you recommend.
Just do a redo. Just do these 2 and then go straight to what I recommend. Just so you got a feel of like what we kind of talked about. But
Gotcha.
I imagine it'll be pretty much more or less the same thing. But yeah, you get the idea. So.
Yeah. Okay, just to make sure here. Okay, man.
All right, sounds good. All right. Talk to you on Saturday then.
Okay.
All right, and then
Talk
good
to
luck
you
with the
then.
online assessment.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, man. Bye. Take care.
All right. Cool. Let's see what you guys said in chat. I'm a TM at a university. Class and M1 app Mac machines are not compatible with many libraries and dependencies used for class I TA for. I told them to get a laptop meant for programming. I mean, all Macs are technically programming machines, but I guess the worst. I mean, your school should have like a Linux server that people could SH into and do the work in. So that's not necessarily a problem. I feel like especially if you guys have the funding to maintain such infrastructure. Are you sure you have the complexity right? What happens if you have an interval from 3 to 10k? Yeah, he doesn't have the complexity. I don't think he has the complexity right either. The M and M plus N that you saw, I kind of just took it at face value and assumed, hey, yeah, that's the number of that's like the range of elements themselves. But right now, I'm telling him to focus on the bigger picture before we start deep diving into the complexities. But yes, you're right. It just depends on what he really meant by that. But I don't want him to focus on, oh, I got the complexities wrong. I really want him to focus on like really making sure that he gets the things that we talked about in the past. That's really what today was on. Just making sure that he didn't make the same mistakes. We'll focus on the time-space complexity later. But I've been kind of making a point to make sure that we do these first. If a question involves a circular array, can you instantly tell what kind of LeetCode question it is? I mean, I couldn't tell you. It's been a very long time since I did LeetCode, so I couldn't tell you. Are there any videos of me working with sliding window patterns with clients? I'm sure that if you look at the coaching session I did with R, like my last client, I'm sure that there is one, although I don't remember if there is a specific video with that. I'm sure that we've covered it, but more or less these patterns, I don't think I've addressed the patterns specifically. In fact, my coaching style is mostly just built around trying to get these frameworks in and getting you to solve any possible problem at any time, and then the rest of it is up to you to fill in the implementation. So, for instance, in today's session, we had the 2-pointers, right? But what we found out was that he just fucking abused it and didn't really do the characteristics of what the input was and what the output was. That's why I said, well, I don't need to do a sliding window because all I care about is the load amount. That's the maximum CPU load question, right? So he just kind of just threw the pattern out willy-nilly. So this told me that he wasn't focused on the input-output of the problem or when to use the pattern. So that's basically the way I see it. It's like I don't care about you using. I'm not gonna coach you on a specific pattern. That's up to you. That's an implementation. That's a tool. I'm gonna tell you how to make good decisions. It's like if you're a carpenter, I'm not gonna teach you how to use a power drill. I'm not gonna teach you how to use a hammer. I'm not gonna teach you how to use the buzzsaw. What I am gonna teach you is how to choose when to use each one. That's more important. The rest will probably be like you reading the instruction manual. It's like if you're using a fucking power drill, I'm not gonna tell you, okay, make sure you have the batteries loaded. Make sure you put the drill in the screw. And then make sure you squeeze in tight bursts. That's pretty much in the fucking manual, and that's what grokking is. I'm gonna tell you, hey, maybe you should use a power drill here instead of a hammer. That's what I'm gonna tell you what to do. If you take a fucking power drill to a nail, it does no one any good. I'm gonna tell you how to make the better decisions and easily guide you to making the right decisions and making your problem solving a lot easier. That's the way I approach it. What he does on his side is going to be the mechanical stuff that, is very boring, dry, but it needs to be practiced. That's the way this arrangement works. I'm not aware of this pattern that I'm enforcing. Do I have a video or doc on this process? Go to grokking, dude. So I'm going to bring this up again, but you can take a look in the sheet. If you look in the description, you'll see I have a guide on how to actually practice for the coding interview. So let me bring this up. The fuck is this? Why is the goddamn webpage not loading? Okay, so it loads on Windows Edge, but not for Chrome? The hell is this? Hold up, let me log in, guys. Oh wait, no, here we go. So, grokking. So you can see here, there's patterns of what you can do. So this is basically where I tell everyone, hey, yeah, these are your raw mechanical patterns. Your sliding window, your 2-pointers, your fast and slow pointers, your merge intervals, your cyclic sort, which personally I don't fucking believe in. I think you skip this one. In place reversal of a linked list, breadth first search, depth first search, 2 heaps, subsets, blah, blah, blah. Modified binary search, all top K elements, etc., etc. These are where you practice your patterns, the raw mechanics of it. But in order to make but we're going to combine that with the decision making that I do in coaching. That's it. So I don't have a video, and it would bore me to shit to make a video on how sliding patterns work. In fact, that's something. The reason why I make people actually do that exercise, is because so that way they can figure out the process of reverse engineering. And that's really important. I feel like people kind of skip that part. They just kind of say, yeah, I got the problem wrong. They did this and move on. But really what we're working on is your ability to dissect your own mistakes and understand, hey, yeah, this is why I made this fucking mistake. Here is the objective, and here's how I'm not going to make that fucking mistake again. So this is just a small microcosm of that. That's it. So, is there any other questions? I'm working through the sliding window section right now. Was curious about the decision-making process. Yeah, so everything we do here, if you look, again, read the guide, it'll tell you how to fucking do this. All my job is here is to show, hey, yeah, you forgot this step. Or, hey, here's like what you are doing, here's what you're not doing, here's how you can make your life easier. So you can see here, like there's several times where he went to like the naive solution, he figured out what was wrong with it, but then he skipped the next step, which is like, oh yeah, well, how do I optimize on that naive solution to come up with a little bit more optimal solution? And he just kind of like went off of the fucking rails and just said, oh yeah, let me iterate through the interval. But then how does that help you solve the problem? You need to have some inkling of the general idea, the overarching idea for the slightly more optimal solution before you even go into these crazy implementations. So there's a step-by-step to this, you know, and I'm giving him most of the tools and the step-by-step of like, hey, you should consider, in general, you should be able to talk about this problem as if you're 5, right? Like, you know, after you built the base cases, what are the crazy cases? The corner cases that you can talk about. Yeah, so a lot of these things are just basically just that, making sure that, hey, when you do this step, make sure you also do this. So that, and don't skip shit. You know what I mean? So that's basically, this is what I am here for. It's to make sure, hey, yeah, make sure if you do these steps, make sure this is how you are going to, this is how you're going to be complete. Here's how you're not going to make any mistakes. All right. I guess with that, that's pretty much it, actually. Yeah, so if there's no other questions, I guess I'll stop the stream unless you guys want me to do other shit. Yeah, I guess going once, going twice. All right. Yeah, so we will have a interview with R as soon as he settles into Google about like, hey, his time, like the whole process of working with me and everything that he's done with me. You can watch the previous playlist on my channel as well. You can watch his coaching sessions, and you can see the progress that he took. But we'll have that probably in like 2 weeks, by the way. So stick around for that. We will have another coaching session with M this Saturday, 11 a.m. PST. So thank you all for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Join me for the next one. Come with questions. And if you guys have any requests, feel free to send that to me on my Discord. Link is in the descriptions. Follow me on Twitter and all them good socials. Until Saturday, thank you and have a good night.